U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Donald Lu now in Dhaka to discuss the future course of cooperation with the interim government. The United Nations completes the first phase of its polio vaccination campaign for children in Gaza amid ongoing attacks. And England defeat Australia by 3 wickets in the second T20 of the 3-match series in Cardiff to level the series 1-1. Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is News at 10 on BTV. You just heard the headlines. Let's move on to the details of those and other stories. In the first 11 days of this month, the expatriates have sent $104 crore to the country. At the same time last year, it came $55 million. As a result, the expatriates have sent almost double remittances than in the same period last year. In the 11 days of this month, the average daily remittance has come to $9 crore 49 lakh. If this trend continues through the month, it could go up to $2.84 billion in September. So far, the highest ever record of $260 million in a single month is in July 2020. After the fall of Sheikh Hasina's government, remittances of $2.22 billion came to the banking channel in August. Remittances fell to $1.91 billion in July due to student protests. Industry advisor Adilur advantage if the problems of the ready-made garment sector are not resolved soon. Neither the workers nor the owners will be benefited from the crisis. He said this at a view exchange meeting on the ongoing crisis of ready-made garment factories in Ashulia area and ways to overcome it, held at BGME Auditorium in Uttara, Dhaka today. Labour and Employment Advisor Asif Mahmood Shoji Bhuiya, Fisheries and Livestock Advisor Farida Akhtar and BGMEA President Khondaka Rafiqul Islam, among others, spoke on the occasion. Labour Advisor Asif Mahmood said measures will be taken on the fair demands of the workers through the cell formed to solve the problems. Those who are creating violence in the garment sector. Industry owners, labour leaders, representatives of the army and law enforcement agencies spoke at the view exchange meeting on ways to solve the various crises of ready-made garment factories in Ashulia area. Finance advisor Dr. Saliuddin Ahmed said tax has to be collected by encouraging people of the country instead of jeopardizing or harassing them. He said this at a discussion at the NBR Bhavan today. BCS Taxation Association President Mohammad Lutful Azim presided over the discussion. NBR Chairman Mohammad Abdur Rahman Khan, among others, spoke. Finance advisor Dr. Saliuddin Ahmed has asked for checking misuse of public funds. Agriculture and Home Advisor Lieutenant General Retired Jahangir Alam Chaudhry said there is enough stock of fertilizer in the country. He has directed the field-level officials to strengthen surveillance so that none can preserve additional fertilizer. He came up with the directive at a review meeting on the flood situation and steps taken to rehabilitate the flood-hit people at the Secretariat today. At the meeting, the advisor was apprised of the activities of the DAE, BADC and BARC. The agriculture advisor directed the authorities concerned to carry out farmers' rehabilitation activities quickly by ensuring transparency. He also directed the officials to visit fields. Agriculture Secretary Dr. Muhammad Imdadullah Mia among the senior officials were present at the meeting. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Donald Lu is now in Dhaka to discuss the future course of action for cooperation with the interim government. He arrived in Dhaka from Delhi this afternoon. Arrived in Dhaka. According to the sources, the delegation from Washington is visiting Dhaka to discuss how the United States can help Bangladesh's interim government meet its economic growth, financial stability and development needs. The U.S. delegation is scheduled to meet Chief Advisor Dr. Mohammad Yunus, Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tawhid Hussain, Finance and Commerce Advisor Saliuddin Ahmed and Bangladesh Bank Governor Ahsan Mansoor on Sunday. The interim government condemned the attacks in the Sufi shrines and cultural sites and instructed the law enforcement agencies to take adequate measures. A statement shared by Chief Advisor's press wing today said the interim government condemns in the strongest terms any hate speech and attack on the religious and cultural sites and the Sufi shrines. The government is acting to bring the unscrupulous forces involved in the attacks to book and initiate stringent legal actions against them. The government said Bangladesh is a country of communal harmony and peaceful coexistence of all beliefs for thousands of years. So any attempt to disturb religious or cultural tolerance and harmony will be strongly dealt with without discrimination, said the statement. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir has said the allies of fascist Hasina government are still conspiring against the country, though the regime was toppled in the mass upsurge of the students and people. He urged the party leaders and activists to remain united against all conspiracies. He made the call while addressing a memorial meeting of the martyrs of the democracy movement organized by BNP at the Central Shahid Minar today. Leaders of BNP Central and associate organizations were present at the meeting. The BNP Secretary General said those who were injured and killed in the anti-fascist government movement in July-August should be compensated and rehabilitated quickly. He said BNP has full confidence in the interim government. Now the people's expectation is to hold an acceptable election. International news now. More than 5,60,000 children aged below 10 in Gaza have received the first of 2 doses of the polio vaccine. Aid workers reached more than 90% of the targeted vaccine coverage in the first phase of the UN-led campaign, according to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. The second set of vaccinations is scheduled to take place in 4 weeks. Meanwhile, 10 people were killed in an Israeli military attack in a house in Gaza. A day before of this attack, 19 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces. In such a situation, the United Nations Secretary General said in an interview to stop the destruction in Gaza. So far, 41,182 people were killed and 95,280 wounded in Israeli attack in Gaza since October 7, 2023. For the first time, North Korea has released photos of a uranium enrichment project. This photo was published yesterday. The photos were released after the country's supreme leader Kim Jong-un visited a uranium enrichment facility in the country. Kim Jong-un visited the Institute of Nuclear Weapons. He also visited a base for making nuclear bomb materials. In the published photo, Kim is seen walking through a long row of metal centrifuges. These devices are used for uranium enrichment. The United Nations Security Council has imposed sanctions on North Korea's nuclear activities. As many as 875 people were killed, centering the anti-discrimination student movement between July 16 and September 9. Besides, more than 30,000 people were injured. Human Rights Support Society (HRSS) said this in a press release sent to the mass media yesterday. The human rights organization made the list of the dead and injured based on 12 national dailies, HRSS investigation unit, and information sent by volunteers from across the country. According to the report, 77% of the people were killed by bullets. The HRSS also said Chhatra League was ordered to attack the agitating students. The law enforcers fired gunshots from helicopters and assault rifles were used to quell the movement, the report added. Leaders of Jatiyo Nagorik Committee said they would work to create a state arrangement so that fascist rule never comes in Bangladesh again. They said Jatiyo Nagorik Committee is not a political party, but its initiative is political. The leaders of the committee said this at a press conference held at Dhaka Reporters Unity today. Committee convener Mohammad Nasiruddin Patwari, Member Secretary Akhtar Hussain and spokesperson Shamanto Sharmin spoke among others at the press conference. A national human rights dialogue titled Democracy, Good Governance and Social Justice was held today in the capital. Human Rights Development Center arranged the dialogue at Dhaka Reporters Unity. Mohammad Mahbubul Haq, General Secretary of the Human Rights Development Center, presided over the function. Anti-Discrimination Student Movement Coordinator Abdul Qadir presented the various incidents of human rights violations during the past 15 years regime under the ousted Awami League fascist government. National Citizens Committee member Ariful Islam Adib and Supreme Court Bar Association President Barrister Mahbubuddin Khokon, among others, spoke at the dialogue. In addition to ensuring that the injured were treated properly, the speakers demanded that the families of the victims of the anti-discrimination student movement receive immediate compensation and rehabilitation. And now, weather. The land-deep depression over Dashore and adjoining area moved westwards and lies over Gangetic West Bengal and adjoining western part of Bangladesh at 6 p.m. today. Met Office said under its influence, the squally weather may affect the maritime ports, North Bay and adjoining coastal areas of Bangladesh. Maritime ports of Chattogram, Cox's Bazar, Mongla and Paira have been advised to keep hoisted local cautionary signal number 3. I repeat, local cautionary signal number 3. All fishing boats and trawlers over North Bay have been advised to remain in shelter till further notice. Meanwhile, Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thunder showers accompanied by temporary gusty or squall wind is likely to occur at most places over Rangpur, Rajshahi, Dhaka, Mymensingh, Khulna, Borishal, Chattogram and Sylhet divisions. Besides moderately heavy to very heavy falls likely to occur at places over the country. Night temperature may fall slightly and day temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country, said the Met Office. And now, sports news. England defeated Australia by 3 wickets in the second T20 of the 3-match series in Cardiff. As a result, the hosts levelled the series at 1-1. Batting first after losing the toss at Sophia Gardens, Australia scored 193 runs for 6 wickets in 20 overs. For Australia, Jack Fraser-McBurr scored 50 and Josh English scored 42 runs. In reply, England scored 194 runs for 7 wickets with 1 over remaining. Liam Livingstone scored 87 for 47 balls and Jacob Bethel scored 44 runs. Livingstone was adjudged man of the match. To end the bulletin headlines once again. Third party to take advantage if the problems of the ready-made garment sector are not resolved soon, warns industry advisor. Measures to be taken on the fair demands of the workers through the cell formed to solve the problem, assures labour advisor. There is no fertilizer crisis in the country. Surveillance to prevent hoarding should be increased, says agriculture advisor. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Donald Liu now in Dhaka to discuss the future course of cooperation with the interim government. The United Nations completes the first phase of its polio vaccination campaign for children in Gaza amid ongoing attacks. And England defeat Australia by 3 wickets in the second T20 of the 3-match series in Cardiff to level the series 1-1. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us. We invite you to watch our 11:30 Bangla News. Until then, Allah Hafiz.